It's been like 2 weeks, but we're back. We've got Evan here, who just recently rebranded from Corepython to Rangers Central. And
Yep.
we're going to be looking at some UFAs for the Rangers this late in the summer because we didn't re-sign our UFA, Vladimir Tarasenko. So we're going to look at some other ones. Okay? All right. Because Barclay Goodrow, guys. No, we got Barclay Goodrow. We've got Barclay Goodrow. We're fine. We don't need anything else, right?
Hey, 2 cups is better than 1. Even though the video is called 2 girls, 1 cup, not 2 girls, 2 cups. Let's just get into it. I'm fucking pissed. I'm pissed. Let's
Yeah,
just go.
there's no silver lining to anything. So let's look at possible UFAs the Rangers could either PTO or bring in on penny deals because no one else fucking signed them. That just might be able to help us out in some way or another. Oh, first and foreskin. Let's show this. So this is the projected Rangers lineup right meow. With $1.5 million in cap space, assuming Laffy gets 2 times 2.3 because God forbid he takes the same deal Kako got. Ignore the lines. I just am throwing shit together. I have VC as projected as a scratch with Gustafsson and Zach Jones flopping in and out. Unless the Rangers are really balls to the wall and are going to call up Othman or Cooley and play them on the third line. I do think they will do something else this offseason. You would think, you would hope.
I don't think so.
All right, we're probably more likely going to see that, right?
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I have no confidence in anything else happening this offseason. I think the door is still open for Kane to return, and I think it's going to happen, especially because he'll be turning 35 and they could give him all those bonuses like they did with Wheeler, Quick, and all the others. So I think that will happen, but for going into the season, this is going to be, you throw VC in there, that's your 12 forwards on opening night, in my opinion, unless Barclay Goodrow and Matty Goodrow are having that kid, and he's not making it to opening night. Outside of that, yeah, this is going to be the starting 12, which, hooray, we're still going to have VC or Goodrow in the top 9. Can't you tell I'm excited? Can't you see my smile?
Just the mid-jers, not even the Rangers anymore. Just the fucking mid-jers.
Yeah, I'm thrilled.
But who knows? Maybe they'll do something fun. I'm not even going to lie to you. There's only 2, maybe 3 players out of the 5 that we're about to go over that I'm remotely interested in. One of them I'm very interested in. 2 of them I'm moderately interested in. And the other 2 I'm just not moved by. They're pretty much in order of how much I'm interested in them. Starting at the bottom, Max Comtois. These are as much, you guys know how I love these micro stats, right? We don't do charts. We just do like micro stats. So his 5.49 hits per 60 would be 8th on the Rangers. His 1.83 blocks per 60 would be 4th amongst Rangers forwards. Don't get it twisted. His 2.44 giveaways per 60 would be the 4th worst on the Rangers. By the way, all these players are derived from a Larry Brooks article from a little over a week ago. His 0.74 takeaways per 60 would be the 2nd worst on the Rangers. His 0 net penalties per 60 would be tied for 6th. His 20 drawn penalties, however, would be 3rd on the Rangers. He draws a lot of penalties, and if you go back and reread the stats, because NHL.com doesn't do this, if you take away his fighting majors, he would be a positive net minor penalty per 60. I'm not sure how positive, but positive enough to where it's, a help. He took 13 minor penalties last year, so he took, I guess it was 7 fighting majors or misconducts, whatever it was sprinkled in there, which would be tied for 10th on the Rangers, which is not good, not bad. It's just, could do without it. His 42.4 shot attempts percentage would be the worst on the Rangers by a lot. And what shot attempts percentage is the amount of shot attempts from either side when you're on the ice. So if you're in the positive, meaning over 50%, your team is shooting the puck more often than not when you're on the ice. If it's negative or below 50%, that means your team is giving up more shot attempts when you're on the ice. His 0.68 goals per 60 would surprisingly be 5th on the Rangers, and his 1.28 points per 60 would be 10th on the Rangers. Maybe as a 13th forward, what do you think?
You could definitely do better than this. I mean,
yeah,
I think I'd rather just let one of the prospects come up or Johnny Brzezinski come up. I'm looking at some of his possession and rate metrics right now, and one thing that I'm a huge Corsi guy, and his Corsi for percentage at even strength has only been above 50% once. Granted, I know he's on Anaheim, but you got to hear the numbers
Yeah.
for his Corsi, because it's not like he's even close to 50%, because even good players are close. His first season in Anaheim, granted it was 10 games, it was 33.6%. Second season, 42.8%. Then he had that 50.5%. 47.9 is not bad, but then last year, 42.2%. And his Corsi per 60, not Corsi for, but his Corsi per 60, which is essentially the same stat in a nutshell, has always been in the negatives. First year, negative 36.2. Last year was negative 18.5. So I'm not sure.
Easy pass. I think there's better internal solutions.
His shots per 60 is at 5.8. That's surprisingly decent for him. His goals per 60 is also in the positives. It's not insanely high. 0.7 is not necessarily the worst for a guy that you would sign to a PTO. I mean,
right.
I'm not
he's
talking
only 24, he's young.
Yeah, I'm not trying to talk anyone or myself into Maxime Comtois just because of the fact that, he had one good season and his goals and his shots per 60 is great. But the Corsi is, I mean,
it's not good.
To not even be close to 50% in some of those years is it's just not good.
It's a guy that maybe let someone else take that risk and you fill it out with a different player, like you said, Johnny Brodzinski. Because I'm on the Broads train. I would love to see Brodzinski get an extended look next year, especially if my thing with Brodzinski is whenever he isn't started into the lineup, he has 2 good games and then he's just mediocre. But if he could have,
I scored. Look at that, too,
dude.
right?
That was gross. First of all, to clean it up with the clapper was so disrespectful, and I loved it. I would be okay with Brodzinski getting a look in training camp, if nothing else. I do fear that if we do waive Johnny Brodzinski next year with the way the salary cap is structured, that another team would claim Johnny Brodzinski next year. Now, granted, if you send him down in a training camp, he's got to clear up the waivers anyway. So it's why not give him a look? I mean, it's not like Max Comtois is moving anyone's needle. If you're 24-year-old, UFA and you're a free agent this deep in a free agency, more likely than not, you're not making $1 million. So, I mean, this is probably something you could pass on.
Yeah, I agree. Looking at just 2 other numbers real quick, his shooting percentage is surprisingly decent. That year, though, where he had his career year, was at 17%.
Jesus, dude.
17% shooting percentage. His first year was 22.
Talk about spoon sanity. Holy shit.
Yes, seriously. That's a name to throw out there as a comparable. 8.3 the year before, and then last year, 10.1. And then the other number I wanted to get into, since we're looking at even strength numbers. So he was dash 20, but I like to look at even strength numbers. He had 17 even strength points this past year. And the amount of goals that were scored when he was on the ice at even strength, there were 49 goals scored against when he was on the ice at even strength.
Jesus Christ. And how many goals for?
Goals for? Well, are you counting just as goals or even strength points?
Even strength points.
17 even strength points.
Jesus Christmas, dude. Let him be someone else's experiment.
Yeah, I think the Rangers should pass on this one.
Especially because it's better players.
The only outliner that you have for him is that he was a second-round pick and he's 24 years old right now.
Right.
That's the only silver lining there, but there's really nothing that really excites you. I mean, his takeaway to giveaway ratio is gross.
Awful.
11 takeaways last year to 36 giveaways.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that one.
This is one of those guys. If you're a shitty team like San Jose that has no chance next year, or even Chicago, and you want to take a shot, a low risk, potentially high reward guy, you give a guy like Max Comtois a look, because you literally have nothing to lose, and you have roster spots open that are just going to be picked up by guys 5-6 years older than him and just as good. So why not, if you're a team like San Jose, give him a shot? But for the Rangers, you don't really have, not that you don't have room for mistakes, but when there's better options on the table that are a little bit older, I think you take those chances.
Yeah, agree.
Moving on after Max Comtois, Anders Bjork. Now, this is a weird one because Anders Bjork only played 14 NHL games last year. He spent most of the year in the minor leagues. But in his 14 NHL games, he had 8 points, which is just Anton Lander levels of random pop off in a handful of games, increase your value for a minute, but no one wants to sign you type shit. His 3.09 giveaways per 60, and again, this is a small sample size, so I'm not going to pass judgment just yet, but 3.09, Jesus Christ. Second worst on the Rangers, just behind Panarin. His 1.85 takeaways per 60 would be 7th on the Rangers, so not bad. His 0 net penalties would be tied 6th. He drew 1 penalty, he took a penalty. His 51.3 shot attempt percentage on a shitty Buffalo defensive team would be 9th on the Rangers. His 0.7 goals per 60 would be 6th. His 2.79 points per 60, which is astronomically high. But again, small sample size would be 1st on the Rangers. This is a guy you could maybe sign, and he's probably the 14th forward. He probably between Hartford and the Rangers throughout the season. He's still young. I think he's 26, 27.
26.
I'd have to look it up. He's 26, so he's still younger. It's like, doesn't move the needle a whole lot, but if you need a body, he's not a bad body.
Yeah, I definitely would be more intrigued by an Anders Bjork than the headliner of the Taylor Hall trade. So how could you not be
right
excited
exactly.
about that alone? But in all seriousness, a guy that's not been awful, Corsi. The thing that the year that really dragged down is Corsi, which is the second most games he's played in a season, which is a little concerning, was in 2021-2022 when he played 58 games for Buffalo. It was a 42.8. Yep. Outside of that, his Corsi has not been horrendous. He had a 44.2% 1 year, but last year 50.2 is not bad. Small sample size. Year before that, bigger sample size, 50.4. Good sample size the 2 years before that was close to 50%, a little below there. And then if you just look at some of the rate metrics, I mean, there's nothing really that exciting. His goals per 60 is not really great. Shots. I mean, he's another guy that shoots the puck a good amount. He had a 14% shooting percentage last year.
That's crazy.
Or at least with Chicago. The one game with Buffalo dragged it down 1%. But
right.
Regardless, yeah, he's another one that shoots the puck like crazy as well. So it could be someone.
Take that.
Yeah, it could be someone worth taking a look at. I mean, if you're going to give Jacob Trouba power play time just to shoot pucks into the blue seats just to get blocked by the Chase Bridge, you might as well give Anders Bjork that shot.
Blocked by the Chase Bridge. Right, 100%. And you know what, too, about Anders Bjork? The guy's been up and down in the NHL for 5 years. Like, you have to be doing something right if you've been in the NHL for 5 years, even if it's just in a platoon role. So he's at the very least a reliable player. You know what you're getting.
Yeah, as long as he picks a decent jersey number when he's here. 96 is not the best, but if he comes here, pick a good jersey number and we're cool.
Now Cal Foote, this is where it starts to get a little bit interesting. This is the guy I'm like medium interested in. So the reason I'm medium interested in Cal Foote is because I don't think it is going to push Braden Schneider over a spot, because that is not at all what I'm saying, because I love Braden Schneider. As a matter of fact, I want Braden Schneider in the top 4 next season because I'm a big fan of Braden Schneider. But for Eric Gustafsson and Zach Jones and Braden Schneider, why not create a little bit more competition and clog up that right side just a wee bit more there, lad? The Rangers' right hand side on defense after Braden Schneider is Ty Emberson and Mac Hollowell.
Yeah.
So, why not bring in another righty? At the absolute worst, you lose the guy on waivers, and that's it. Cal Foote is 6'5", 225 pounds. Now, he doesn't hit very much, 4.6 hits per 60 minutes, 24 years old. Cal Foote originally thought to be one of the centerpieces behind the Ryan McDonough trade that really fucked over the Rangers. And pick your poison. Would you have liked Libor Hayek or Cal Foote? I would have liked neither, but here we are now. Libor Hayek is gone and Cal Foote's an option for free in free agency. His 4.12 blocks per 60 would be 5th on the Rangers, 5th amongst defensemen and forwards and everybody. His 1.26 giveaways per 60 would be the second best on the Rangers. His 0.63 takeaways per 60 would be the worst. His negative 1.27 net penalty per 60 would be the worst by a lot. The second worst would be negative 0.45. Now, granted, Cal Foote, I do believe, had a handful of fighting majors in there. So it's not as bad, but it's still pretty bad. He takes a lot of penalties. His 46.1 shot attempt percentage would be 13th on the Rangers. In my opinion, the only silver linings with Cal Foote you could potentially get is that he's 24 years old. He's a former first-round pick. I believe he was 14th overall by Tampa Bay.
14th, yes.
Yeah, so like he has potential.
In that crapshoot of a 2017 NHL draft.
Right. So like there could still be something there as a 24-year-old, but you can't.
Then again, Wes Anderson won that draft, so.
But you kind of know what you're getting with Cal Foote. Like, he doesn't have a lot of giveaways, but he also doesn't have a lot of takeaways. This is like your prototypical stay-at-home, low-risk, low-reward seventh defenseman. Like the Jeff Whitka, the Steve Emmingers, the Justin Falks, the plug and chug.
Speaking my language.
Right, like the plug and chug, you see what you get what you see, and what you see is what you get. What you see is what you get, and what you get is what you see, and what you get is what you see. And all those weird, stupid sayings that all the insiders love to say, and I'm going to use them, and I'm going to regurgitate them now just to piss everybody off. It's Cal Foote.
Studying.
Right, we're studying. We're trying to see if the Rangers have a Cal Foote fetish or not.
Oh my God.
We'll see. I don't know. I'm not huge on the guy, but you know what? If you're gonna fish for another defenseman on the market, I mean, this is probably the only guy I'd look at.
Yeah, there's a lot for me with Cal Foote. I would sign him for sure because not just because I love a good 7th, 8th defenseman, which the Rangers have gone downhill tremendously when it comes to defensive depth lately. I like what they did this offseason after the brutal signings of guys like Tedordi and guys like that. But the right side, like you said, needs help badly. Mac Hollowell, I don't want to see him playing games if there's an injury to the right side. And we know there's apparently a thing that Laviolette does not like to play defense on their offhand. So, yeah, if there's an injury to the right side, Mac Hollowell's probably the first guy slotting into the lineup, which is less than ideal. But I think the thing that you could outline with Cal Foote that could be a positive is if you take away some of his ice time potentially, he could grow. He got 16 minutes average ice time in Nashville this past year, 14 over in Tampa. I think if you limit that just a bit, just limit it to 12, that will help a bit. Yes. He turns the puck over, like you said, way too much. The penalties are definitely a huge concern.
Brutal.
Yeah. Really bad concern, but at least the Corsi at even strength looks pretty good. It's not 50%. It only has been once. But it's at least up there at 49%. Last year, though, it was at 46, which still is not the worst, considering he would be a 7th, 8th defenseman at that point. So it's not like you're looking for him to really provide that much. I don't see any harm in signing a Cal Foote. I think that they need to get better on the right side defensively anyway. So I would definitely welcome Cal Foote or Callan Foote if you want to be technical with his name.
And I want to restate something because I could have done a better job of writing this. His 1.26 giveaways per 60 are actually on the lower side. He'd have the second fewest giveaways per 60 on the Rangers. I should have made a better way of saying that. So he doesn't give the puck away a lot. He's just like a safe play type defenseman. But you know what? Too, at the age of 24 years old. You put him with a coach like Peter Laviolette, and you might get something, with Cal Foote. And another thing too, like some of these guys, like former first round picks, it's not uncommon for them to get into a certain system and just have it work out. Here, you want an absolutely perfect example, and I'm going to use a former Rangers defenseman that did not really become a good defenseman until he came to the Rangers, is Anton Stralman. Yeah. Anton Stralman was kind of, not that he was in and out of the lineup with Columbus, but he couldn't find his footing. He was just a 6th defenseman, with the Columbus Blue Jackets. He comes to the Rangers, and he's a legit top 4, maybe even a number 3 defenseman on a team. He had some great runs with Tampa Bay. He became a really good defenseman with Tampa Bay. But like there is zero harm in giving a guy like Cal Foote a shot, especially if you have limited options there on the right-handed side. I don't have I'm going to try to pull it up real quick while I'm rambling. I don't have the list of right-handed defensemen on the market right now for free agency. I'm going to try to pull it up real quick. I don't think there's a single option that has more games played, aside from Matt Dumba, of course, than Callan Foote. Yeah, so you have Dumba, the Rangers are not signing Matt Dumba. Ethan Bear, Cal Foote, and Jason Demers, who played a single game. So if you're going to bolster the right side with guys that played NHL games last year, I think Cal Foote's your best bet. I'm not a big fan of Ethan Bear. I think he's way too much of a liability. I think Cal Foote is probably your safest bet.
100%. And you could still hang your hat on the fact that he's only 24 years old.
Exactly.
Plus 6'5", throws a decent amount of hits.
Right.
Maybe our captain could teach him a bit of, at least throwing more hits. If you're going to be out of position, at least throw more hits.
Right. And you know what, too? Like a defenseman that I think could be used as an example here is a defenseman who's incredibly efficient defensively and does not throw a lot of hits is Ryan Lindgren. I believe his hits per 60 is like 3.2 something. And he's one of the most efficient defensive defensemen in the NHL. There was a stat last year that he had the most uninterrupted or not uncontested, untipped, unstopped, or whatever breakout passes from the defensive zone in the NHL last year in Ryan Lindgren. So maybe Cal Foote playing with a guy or learning from a guy like Ryan Lindgren could help him. And that they're both, not the greatest or fastest skaters with their size. They're not overly physical, but they can be physical and just playing safe defense. And he can learn from that. And you know what, too? At 24 years old, if you don't want him, like I said, just waive him. Someone's probably going to pick him up, especially if he's on a penny deal.
Yeah. There's no harm in.
No, it's not a marriage.
Yeah, there's no harm in going after a guy like Cal Foote.
The next one, Danton Heinen, is my second most interested player on the list. His 6.52 hits per 60 is surprisingly high. I thought Danton Heinen was not a bruiser. I thought he was a scorer or a depth scorer, but he's not. But he scores too. But 6.52 hits per 60 would be fifth on the entire Rangers team. I believe if you cut out the defenseman, he'd be third, I think. His 2.23 blocks per 60 would be second best on the Rangers amongst forwards. His 1.37 giveaways per 60, so very low giveaways, will be second best. His 2.05 takeaways per 60 will be seventh best on the Rangers. His negative 0.17 net penalty per 60 will be 12th, so it's not great. His 51.1 shot attempt percentage will be 10th. His 0.65 goals per 60 would be 7th. His 1.87 points per 60 would be 5th. This guy is just an all-around safe bet. You could probably get him on a penny deal. You could play him up and down the lineup. I'm not saying he's Jesper Fast, but he could fill a Jesper Fast type void where he could literally play anywhere in the lineup and be okay. He's not going to blow you away. He's just going to do everything good, and he's going to be a net positive. He might not be a significant net positive. I mean, he's had 40. I think he's had 40 point season before. He's definitely had 30 point season before. He's just a net positive. He's not a net negative. Just a good player to have around. It wouldn't hurt to have him per se.
Have you looked at some of the underlying numbers, like possession metrics and rate metrics for Danton Heinen?
I would love to learn about him.
Well, you're going to absolutely love them, and I'm kind of foaming at the mouth now thinking about this guy playing for the Rangers. First of all, love that he takes away the puck more than he gives it away most of the time.
A lot, too.
I love the good Danton Heinen, by the way, in old Chell games. I will say that.
Yes.
Not old Chell games, not very old, but like somewhat old Chell games at this point. But
like an 82 to 84 overall young guy. Just plug him in cheap.
Yeah, especially after that 47-point season.
Right.
That definitely boosted his overall. But to get to the possession metrics, his Corsi, the past two seasons, over 50%. Last year at 51.3. Year before at 54%.
Damn. And that was with Pittsburgh?
Yes. The bad news is that it was not over 50%. The past 20 or the past two seasons before that. He bounced around with two teams, so it threw things off. But it was still at 47% and then 48 also in 2021. So that's not the worst.
Right.
And then you go to 2018, 2019 when he's on a good team like Boston. It was at 52.9%, 54.7% his first full season in the league. If you look at his Corsi for per 60, which this includes shots, blocks, and misses per 60 minutes.
Right.
Well over at 50% pretty much every single season of his career except for like two.
Okay.
In his first full season, 60.1. In his second season, 57.6. His third season, where he split time between Boston and Anaheim, 52.2. His first season in Anaheim, 58.9. Next season in Anaheim, 51.5. And then the past 2 years in Pittsburgh, 58.2 and 58.3.
Christmas, dude. Yeah. Never mind. I'm moving Danton Heinen into my number one spot. That's ridiculous.
And his shots per 60 minutes at even strength is at an 8.2, or that's what it was last year. So there's a lot to love here about Heinen, and I think if you give him more ice time, he could produce because he had 22 points last year with averaging 10 minutes and 45 seconds of ice time. If you give him an extra few minutes, which I'm hoping Laviolette actually rolls out the lines more equally, you could get some very solid production
100%.
from Heinen. And this is pretty much all at even strength. He has 6 career power play 11 career power play goals and power play assists, he has 21. So he doesn't get a lot of power play time,
Yeah,
but
but that's actually pretty solid. Like, this is a guy I could see you throwing on a line with Artemi Panarin. You give Panarin a left-handed option, a guy that's going to muck and grind, possess the puck, not lose the puck when the puck's on his stick. And he's had successful scoring seasons before, so why could he not replicate that with a guy like Panarin? Like, this could be excellent.
yeah, I'm all for this Danton Heinen signing. I try saying that a couple times quickly.
Yeah, right.
But I'm all for this signing. I mean, the rate metrics and the possession metrics look really freaking good, and I'm shocked.
Yeah,
I'm shocked
I'm
that
not
he's
gonna lie.
not signed with these numbers.
Right, especially with the way analytics is in the NHL right now, where people are trying to look more into it. Dude, I guess Danton Heinen is going to be our new Archibald until the season starts, because I'm all over this guy now.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
I'm all for it. This is my Archibald. This is
Is it a tweet? Let's get that on Twitter right meow.
Well, first, let me see the last guy before I.
Okay.
Before
You're
I
not gonna like the
go
last
fully
guy. I
on
know
it.
you're not.
Okay, why am I not gonna like him? Ah, you piece of shit.
Now let me explain.
Okay.
12.89 hits per 60 would be first. 4.76 blocks per 60 would be first amongst Rangers forward, third on the entire team. 1.64 giveaways per 60 would be 12th. 1.48 takeaways per 60 would be 10th. So a minor negative. A minor negative. His negative 0.7 net penalty per 60 would be the worst. However, that is factoring in 16 non-power play creating penalties, i.e. majors and misconducts. Without those, his net penalties per 60 is a high positive. He drew 21 penalties. That would be third on the entire Rangers team. His 45.7 shot attempts percentage would be 12th. So not a great shot attempts percentage. However, he was playing on a Ottawa Senators team that gave up a lot of shots. I believe there were over 31 shots against per game. His 0.6 goals per 60 would be 8th. His 0.8 points per 60 would be 15th. This is not a guy I'm saying you play every night. But why not create a little bit of competition and have Austin Watson and Tyler Pitlick battle it out for that number 12 spot every single night? You give yourself a Carcillo Dorsett type in and out of the lineup, a Brandon Prust, Jody not Brandon Prust, Jody Shelley. Who was he in and out with? Who was the other fucking fighter Shelley was in and out with? But you know what I mean? Like a number 12, like two guys that are in and out, playing their nuts off every night they're in the lineup. You get a guy like Watson and Pitlick fighting it out. You think Watson's going to take stupid penalties if he's not guaranteed a spot every night? Hell no. And I think that net penalties per 60 is in the positives. You get a guy that's going to fight. You get a guy that's going to hit, who's going to throw himself in front of pucks with a 4.76 blocks per 60. He doesn't even have that many giveaways, 1.64. It's not great, but it's not bad. And again, if he's in a role where he's not guaranteed a spot every night like he was in Ottawa, those numbers go down. The takeaways go up. I could see this potentially working out, especially if it's on like a 1-year Blake Wheeler AAV. This might not hurt. Again, just if for nothing else, and just to create a little bit of competition in that bottom six. Hey, maybe even put Barclay Goodrow on his heels a little bit.
Well, first of all, Barclay Goodrow's never gonna. He's not coming out of the lineup. But
man can dream.
I'm definitely more on the Heinen signing because this is just kind of more of the same, I feel like, of what we already have. I mean, not exciting production, especially for a guy that has a very high shooting percentage at 11.4. Surprisingly, had it the exact same the past 2 seasons, and only getting 10 goals and then 9 goals last year, which isn't awful for a fourth liner. But he's had 2 seasons with over 10 goals. And last year he was 1 away from it. And I know it's not super sexy and exciting numbers, but another number 2, a little tidbit on Austin Watson. He's played 45 games in the playoffs. He's got 19 points in those 45 games. I mean, that's almost half a point a game, which for a fourth liner, and this is a guy that's coming up and playing big minutes when it matters. And with Nashville in 2017, 2018, he had 8 points and 5 goals in 13 playoff games. Yeah, but his possession metrics are not great. His Corsi
probably going to be awful.
Percentage, it's not. It hasn't even sniffed 50%, except for that for those first 6 games he played in Nashville.
Yeah,
his Corsi per 60 has not sniffed 50% except for 2 seasons. One of those was last year. If you want some sort of positive takeaway though with that, the shots per 60. 6.4 is surprisingly high. 7.2 the year before. I don't know. And then the Pims. I mean, oh fuck.
Pims, he takes a lot of penalties, but he also draws a lot. And like I said, if you take away the 16 majors and misconducts, he's drawing a lot more minors than he's taking.
Yes, but I feel like
I'm begging for a positive.
I would just rather. To me, I feel like Johnny Brzezinski is worth giving more of a look at because one, he'll probably be cheaper than Watson.
Yes.
And two, I would rather a guy that is not it could come in the lineup, is not going to take a lot of penalties, also could skate and give us something different, a little bit of a fresh look in the bottom six. Where with Watson, I feel like it's just more of the same. Where if they're looking for someone that can maybe give more of the same, sure. But I'm telling you right now, I'm all on this Danton Heinen.
You converted me. You converted me, and I don't even think it's close at this point. I'm all
once I
over
looked up
Heinen.
Awesome Watson and scrolled down to the possession metrics, I tweeted out to sign Heinen.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta check your retweet on that. Hold on. I'm gonna give you a quote tweet as a matter of fact. What would be a funny hashtag for Heinen? Hashtag Danton B. I don't know. Fucking know. Hashtag bring in Heinen. It's high noon. I don't fucking know.
Heine's out for Heinen.
Heine's out for Heinen. Anyways, we'll close out with this. So with Heinen in the lineup, Kreider's a Benajed Kako. I would love to do this instead, just because, just for shits and giggles. Laffy, Zib, Kako, Panarin, Trocheck, Heinen, Kreider, Hedel, Wheel Deal, Gaudreau, Bonino, Pitlick with VC and Jones as your scratches. Miller, Fox, Lindgren, Trouba, Gustafsson, Schneider, Igor, and Senior Quick. Not a bad lineup. Not bad. Respectable. And $528,000, 417. What a weird fucking number. In cap space, that's only going to go up at the deadline. You probably sit at the deadline with a little over 2, maybe 3 schmilly, which is just enough to bring back Vladimir Tarasenko. Or if you want to get frisky, activate Patrick Kane once he is healthy enough to play. And then you do whatever the fuck you want with him. It's just up to you at that point. But it's possible. It's not impossible. It's not.
Yeah, I would be all for this. I need Heinen. He's my Archibald, man. He's my Archibald.
He's my Archibald.
This is what we're gonna say now with every single under the radar guy. He's my Archibald.
Yep, it's Archibald. The Archibald is just taking over. He's more famous than he knows. But guys, thank you everybody for coming out and watching this video. I'm gonna try to upload a few days a week. It's impossible to find content, guys. I mean, we'll try to get back to streaming every single day, doing the puck dokus and all that stuff. Now that I'm back from Orlando, Universal Studios got a little can going. Oh, right, Immaculate Grid. There's plenty to do. It's just NHL content is few and far between. So probably just a few live streams.
Being at Universal.
What's that?
Well, I knew it was one of the two. I don't know why I'm acting surprised. When you went to Universal, I was texting that you're either in Disney or Universal.
Oh, dude, we were living it up in Uni. We were all over Uni, dude. You know what's surprising? There was a lot of Montreal Canadiens attire walking around Uni. I don't know why. Just a lot of
Canadians love Universal.
Dude,
really
it was fucking crazy. But guys, thank you all for watching, and we will see you all in the next one. Deuces. Is what I just made in my pants. I'm kidding.